What if Jesus didn't first appear in a manger in Bethlehem? What if, centuries before the Incarnation, the Son of God stepped into the world, visibly, physically, and people saw him face to face? These are the Christophanies, 5 moments in the Old Testament where Christ appeared long before he was born. 3 men are thrown into a furnace so hot it kills the soldiers who cast them in. The flames roar, the door is sealed, and King Nebuchadnezzar expects nothing but ash. But when he looks inside, he leaps to his feet in shock. In Daniel chapter 3, verses 24 and 25, Nebuchadnezzar sees not 3 men, but 4, walking freely in the fire, completely unharmed. And the 4th, he says, looks like a son of the gods. No one entered that furnace with them. No human could survive those flames. Yet there he is, a divine figure, standing in the middle of destruction, shielding 3 men who refused to bow to a false god. The pagan king didn't have the theology to name him, but centuries of Christian tradition have. That 4th man in the fire was Christ himself, present with his people in their darkest hour. When the flames are hottest, he doesn't watch from a distance. He walks in with you. The walls of Jericho loom ahead. Israel's armies are camped on the plains, and Joshua, Moses' successor, the leader of an entire nation, looks up to see a warrior standing before him with a drawn sword. In Joshua chapter 5, verses 13 through 15, Joshua approaches the figure and asks the most reasonable question a general could ask. Are you for us or for our enemies? The answer is stunning. Neither, but as commander of the army of the Lord, I have now come. This is no angel taking sides in a human conflict. This is the one who commands heaven's armies. And Joshua's response tells us everything. He falls face down in worship. The commander does not stop him. Instead, he gives an instruction that should sound familiar. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy. The same command God gave Moses at the burning bush. Only God makes the ground holy by his presence. Joshua wasn't meeting an angel. He was standing before the Son of God. A pregnant woman, cast out and alone, stumbles through the desert with no plan and no hope. Her name is Hagar, and she is fleeing the cruelty of her mistress, Sarai. In Genesis chapter 16, verses 7 through 13, the angel of the Lord finds her by a spring in the wilderness. But this is no ordinary angel. He speaks with absolute divine authority. I will multiply your offspring so that they cannot be numbered for multitude. No created being can make that promise, only God himself. And Hagar knows it. She responds with something no one else in Scripture does. She gives God a name, El Roi, the God who sees. And then she says, I have now seen the one who sees me. This wasn't a messenger delivering someone else's words. This was God himself, appearing to the most marginalized woman in the story, in her most desperate moment. The first Christophany recorded in Scripture didn't happen in a palace or a temple. It happened in a desert for a runaway slave. He sees the ones the world overlooks. 3 men appear at the entrance to Abraham's tent near the oaks of Mamre, and Abraham rushes to greet them with extraordinary urgency, bowing to the ground, preparing a feast, standing by them as they eat. In Genesis chapter 18, verses 1 through 33, something remarkable unfolds. While 3 visitors arrive, the text identifies one of them directly as the Lord. YHWH, the covenant name of God. Not an angel, not a prophet. The Lord himself, in visible, physical form, sharing a meal with Abraham. Two of the visitors eventually depart towards Sodom, but the one who remains engages Abraham in one of the most extraordinary conversations in all of Scripture. Abraham pleads for the righteous in the doomed city, and he addresses this visitor as the judge of all the earth. He negotiates from 50 righteous souls down to 10, and the Lord listens, responds, and engages. This is the pre-incarnate Christ, dining with his friend, hearing his prayers, and exercising divine judgment. Centuries before Bethlehem, the Son sat at Abraham's table. The God of the universe will sit with you and hear your case. It is the dead of night, at the ford of the Jabbok River. Jacob is alone, terrified of what tomorrow may bring, a reunion with the brother who once swore to kill him. And out of the darkness, a man seizes him. In Genesis chapter 32, verses 24 through 30, Jacob wrestles this mysterious figure through the entire night. When the man sees that he cannot overpower Jacob, he touches his hip and dislocates it with a single touch, an act of restrained omnipotence. Then he asks, "What is your name?" and renames him Israel, one who struggles with God. Jacob knows exactly who he has been grappling with. He names the place Peniel, declaring, "I have seen God face to face, and yet my life was delivered." The prophet Hosea later confirms it. Jacob wrestled with God, and he wrestled with the angel. Not just any angel, not just any man, the eternal Son of God, veiled in human form, wrestling in the dirt with a broken man who refused to let go. He doesn't destroy those who cling to him. He blesses them. 5 appearances, 5 encounters with the living God. Long before the Word became flesh, he was already here, walking in fire, standing on holy ground, and wrestling in the dark with those who would not let him go.